Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Adubato. We are honored to once again be joined by our friend Carlos Lejnieks, who is President and CEO, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Essex, Hudson and Union Counties. Good to see you, Carlos.
Good to see you, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Let everybody know the Big Brothers, Big Sisters work as we put up the website. It's so important. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. I've been CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sisters for about 14 years. We pair up one-to-one mentors for young people in our community in Essex, Hudson, and Union counties. And through a evidence-based mentoring program that's been around for over a century, we, based on common interests and commonalities, have caring adults in the lives of our kids. During the pandemic, if we learned anything else, the power of human connection is definitely needed amongst us all, but particularly for our young people that come to our doors. About a third of our kids come to us referred by the state social work system. They face challenges, but with the power of a one-to-one mentor, we see positive things increase, like school attendance, school grades, and high school graduation rates, and also college matriculation rates. We see negative things decrease as well. So we know that the secret sauce of mentoring works, and have been doing this for 14 years and looking to be strong coming out of the pandemic to recruit more mentors.
Yeah, you mentioned the pandemic, Carlos. Let's get into that, and we'll come back to the healthcare issues in just a moment. So the greatest impact of the pandemic, as we're taping this program toward the back end of the summer 2022, the greatest impact that COVID has had on the work of your organization is?
Twofold: academic loss as well as a depression. We saw during the pandemic that our young people, when they were isolated, they faced traumas, especially because of the families from whence they come, who were essential workers. Online learning was not what it was cracked up to be. And it's a disparaging comment on the teachers. They were trying to do what they could. However, everyone saw what was playing out, and our young people needed that additional support. Unfortunately, not all of them were able to get it. So we saw an academic loss that has yet to be fully quantified. But McKinsey recently put together a study that talked about something like 9 to 15 months of academic loss for young people, especially in under-resourced communities. And so how do we come out of this catching them up and having them get the skills necessary and the desire to graduate from high school, go off to college, so they become competitive in a world economy? And then lastly, the social and emotional development of our kids was really challenging during the pandemic, and we still see the trauma of that ripple into today. We had our referrals for supports around therapeutic supports and behavioral health supports and depressive elements of our young people be more than doubled during the pandemic. So we're very in tune with the social emotional needs of our kids, and we think that a caring, stable adult mentor in the life of our kids helps mitigate and buffer against that.
But real quick, though, on this, Carlos, but a lot of the mentoring was going on remotely.
Yeah, so the blessing of our work was that we had strength of relationship before. Many of our relationships had been years in the making, so they had each other to lean on. They
had history. Yeah, history.
Conversation. Absolutely. So they were known to each other. And then, of course, we all had to pivot to virtual. But we know coming out of this, there's nothing that replicates in-person human connection.
Yeah, and those new relationships are hard to establish remotely out of the box. But listen, the work is important, and that's why we put up the website for those who are interested in volunteering, making a difference with the young people that Carlos is talking about. Follow up there. Follow up on the website. But over at Jersey City Medical Center, you are the first person of Lejnieks Heritage to serve as chairperson of the board. It's a big deal. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's a real responsibility.
Talk about what needs to be done there.
Well, about a decade ago, I joined on as a board member, just as a community leader. Given my role at Big Brothers, Big Sisters, we were actively involved in respecting what Jersey City Medical Center was doing every single day. We hire from our community, we see it with our families and students alike. And so there was this incredible respect. And when they asked me to join the board, I, of course, took on that responsibility and seeing what the impact is of our community. But having a diverse set of eyes at the board level, as well as at the C-suite, as well as at the staffing level, is essential, I think, to make sure that we're aligned with culturally competent care, our alignment with how we view the assets of our community and how better to address the call to action for some of our needs in our community. And so, throughout the years, they had pulled me into the hospital, had pulled me into various community engagement opportunities, as well as committee work. And in the committee work, you really see where all the work is done with the frontline workers, talk about nursing, talk about the docs, talk about our complete staff, about 2,500 staff members, a majority of whom come from our community. But I'm particularly proud about our nurses and what they were able to do during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
The board asked me to be on a committee 2 times in a row where we presented to an independent body that evaluates quality of nursing. And it's a high-level status called the Magnet Award status. We've won this.
Magnet Award.
We won it 4 times in a row. And for the 600 nurses that we have in our hospitals, it's a real validation of the hard work that they took on, but especially the case that we just got the distinction for the 4th time about a month ago. And coming out of the pandemic, this was such a shot in the arm for the culture of our team. What they were doing during the pandemic was just God's work, and weathering the storm and doing it committed to purpose and committed to our people was just incredible. So I'm really grateful to be a small part in that conversation.
It's so interesting. First of all, Jersey City Medical Center, part of the larger RWJ Barnabas healthcare system, significant supporters of public broadcasting. But the really interesting thing for me is this. Carlos is talking about the nurses and other clinicians on the front line, whether it's at Jersey City Medical Center or any other healthcare organization, hospital system. Heroes at first. Now, what the heck?
We can't forget.
What is that? Go ahead, Carlos. What is that about?
We can't forget them. We can't forget the issue. I remember 2 years ago when we were banging pots and pans in celebration of our nurses. We were trying to do that to show support in the way we can.
Now they're targets for people who are peeved at whatever and frustrated and COVID restrictions and policies of the government and what medicine is appropriate or not or cleared by the CDC. No, it's like they're targets. How does that happen?
Unreal. Politics is the devil's work, and we are here to lift up what they are, which are our heroes, and will continue to be so. They've always been the case. When you walk through some people ask me why Jersey City Medical Center, what is of quality of them? We could talk about all the accolades, but I will tell you it's highly personal. I moved my mom from Montclair, where she lived, to Hudson County, to Jersey City. My mom has personal needs that she leans on healthcare system pretty regularly. I will tell you, nothing more precious than my mother to walk through the doors and the people that greet her, the nurses on the front end, as well as the docs and the clinicians and everyone else, takes no one better care than of my mother than those out of our institution. So it's a highly personal one. We can list all the accolades, but this is where the rubber hits the road. And for those who vilify those in the front line, I think there's a special place.
There's a special place. Let's just leave it at that.
That's right.
And Carlos's point, not only at that particular institution, but to all the hospitals, hospital systems, and to all the frontline workers, you continue to be heroes, regardless of how some folks may want to take out their frustration. Carlos, thank you so much, my friend. Best to you and all the folks at the organization. Take care.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you.
You guys stay with us. We'll be right back.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Valley Bank, NJM Insurance Group, the Fidelco Group, New Jersey Sharing Network, Johnson & Johnson, Rutgers University, Newark, and by Prudential Financial. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com and by Insider NJ.
NJM Insurance Company has been serving New Jersey policyholders for more than 100 years. But just who are NJM's policyholders? They're the men and women who teach our children, the public sector employees who maintain our infrastructure, the workers who craft our manufactured goods, and New Jersey's next generation of leaders, the people who make our state a great place to call home. NJM, we've got New Jersey covered.